So what is Kung Fu? Like, how do you, like, what does it mean to you, right? Like, what do you think of when I say Kung Fu? Do you think of Bruce Lee? Do you think of the old Asian guy who says, "Pay attention, grasshopper"? Or do you think of Ninja Turtles? I love Ninja Turtles. The old one, like the original movies, those were so good. Um, yeah, so I'm thinking about Kung Fu lately, and I've been wondering how it relates to how I express being trans and being a woman, because Kung Fu is associated with combat, it's associated with martial arts, and I actually don't know any martial arts well. Like I've practiced a little here and there, but I actually don't do it. And it has this sort of identity interplay of being masculine, being a warrior, and having to do martial arts that kind of, none of those things resonate with me, yet the essence of Kung Fu really does. And I've been trying to figure this out for myself. Do you have things that you're fascinated by that don't exactly mesh with who you think you are, but somehow it just keeps pulling into you? How have you kind of integrated that into yourself? Is that just like self-acceptance, or what kind of path have you taken in order to do that? I'd love to hear what's worked for you. For me, what I'm starting to realize is my obsession with Kung Fu, and not the martial practice, but the inner practice, because Kung Fu actually means hard, like skill attained through hard work. Or in another way, I would put it as practice. When you practice and you practice and you practice and you practice anything at a very high level, it becomes Kung Fu. So if you keep practicing the art of fighting and you keep thinking about how to defeat your opponent, you can eventually imagine that a system of martial arts would evolve out of that because you've been applying Kung Fu. If you're a great pianist, you've been applying Kung Fu. And for me, what I'm realizing is I'm applying Kung Fu in expressing these things and trying my best to really get myself out there into the world, to talk to you, to share positive messages, and to get you to think a little bit, right? Like, we can be so lost in our day-to-day world and the chaos of all the things that are calling attention to ourselves that sometimes we need to point to the things that matter and to question ourselves and to call these things out. And with Kung Fu, what I want to teach is the inner form of Kung Fu. That's what I realized today. I want to teach inner Kung Fu. And so I started writing and writing and writing and writing, and I'm going to make an episode about inner Kung Fu, and I'm really excited about that. But most importantly, what I'm excited about is really sharing this idea about how we perceive ourselves and what we do. Because Kung Fu is about practice. And how do you get better at practice? You get better at practice by first of all, I'd like to know how you think you get better at practicing something. But from my perspective, the art of practice itself is really an art of understanding what you're doing and how you're doing it and how you're seeing what you're doing. So that way, if you see something that you can change within yourself about how you see it, and you can also change how you're doing it, you can get better because you can see the difference between what you actually want and what you're actually doing. Like with dance moves, I don't know how many of you dance, but I'm definitely okay at dancing. Sometimes I'm good, but you do some dancing or you do some singing or you do something that's physical, and you notice that you're not as good as what you expected or what you want, and that discrepancy is sort of the practice that gets you there. But a lot of people just kind of fall off because they don't think they can get there. It's kind of sad. Is there like something in your world, excuse me, is there something in your world where you want to be better at doing that thing, like drawing or art or writing or something, but you also feel like bad about where you are right now and it just feels impossible to get there? That's, to bridge that gap, that's Kung Fu. And that's what I really want to work on with you and what I want to work on with the larger world, because I think we're a little bit distracted. Like, you got TikTok out there, and you have this kind of like need for instant gratification that results in nothing in terms of skill progression, because if you don't get the feedback and the rewards that you want, then you just don't go anywhere. And that's unfortunately a truth of the way the world works, is no one's going to pay you if you're not good at something. And if you feel like you're not good at something and that you'll never be good at something, then you're never going to be good at something. Oh my God. Like, that's, it's not so good. So yeah, I really don't know where I'm going with this, but I've been thinking about this, and I've been just trying to understand how this relates to my own personal messaging, which is, hi, I'm a trans woman and I want to help trans people understand themselves and get better at what they're doing. And hi, I'm also a trans woman and I want to teach you Kung Fu. I want to teach you the art of practicing, and I want to teach you ways in which you can overcome your own perception. And I guess they're actually two really similar things when you put them like that. I guess I'm just trying to figure out how to meld these two. Yeah, like, is this something that interests you? Have I piqued your interest? Are there questions that you have? Uncertainty? Are there things that don't make any sense? I'd love your feedback as I'm starting to write this now, and trying to figure out what to do, because it's something that's close to my heart. I just haven't really figured out exactly where to go. So this is one of those projects, where you really care about it, but you don't know how to like move it forward. This is where I'm at right now. Let me know how you're doing, and I will see you tomorrow. This has been Tea Time with Ashley Adamson, signing off.